So, the summer of 2016 could be marked as the summer of Pokemon Go, the augmented reality or AR game with which people, children and adults, spend hours and days chasing after imaginary creatures in real places. Simply explained, the technology required people to point their cell phone cameras on locations around them, and then it shows that location on the screen of the cell phone with a Pokemon on it, or two if you're lucky. The display is in real time and interactive, so you can immediately see if you can catch one. Have to catch them all is the game's slogan. Augmented reality existed well before Pokemon Go. This technology has been used in applications selling furniture or clothes, professional training that replaces traditional on-job training in whole or in part, as well as translation of street signs and other text for tourists traveling into foreign cities. Google Glass project originally aimed to become the platform for this brave new world, though it did not deliver the promises made earlier in the project inception phase. Google Glass project might be a history by now, but AR is live and kicking, as the Pokemon Go craze demonstrates. In this paper, I would like to examine augmented reality technologies and their relations to their users, or in marketing language, how AR technologies become sticky or addictive. The starting point of this paper is a Lev Manovich definition for AR as the layering of information on top of the real. This information can be real, as in the form of a product price, people's names, or the name of store layouts up in the sky, as you can see here. And it can be imaginary, accompanying the user with graphics, chatbots, or personal assistants whose voice may lead one to think a real person is out there. The content of the information layer, Manovich stresses, should be location sensitive. Because the display space is so limited, the information must be relevant and in context. Location, as well as time and the identity of the user, provide such contextualization. Thus, the various software packages show information which they consider relevant for a specific user at a given place and at a certain point in time. Manovich warns us that such a link to our location may yield surveillance in scales unknown before. Today, we know he was right. He published it in 2001. But as my friend Carmel Weissman rightfully notes, very few users care about this. The surveillance or privacy threat, as viable as it is not taken into consideration by most people. On the contrary, most critical analyses are considered determinist and dystopian, and they are sort of left to their own devices. So in order to explore the popularity of AR technologies, I suggest we study their relations to their users and what experiences they offer. Or in post-phenomenological terminology, what world is mediated for us by those technologies and how? Post-phenomenology is a branch of philosophy of technology that explores our relations with technologies and the world. While classical phenomenology seeks to systematically analyze our experience of the world, post-phenomenology goes one step further, realizing that today fewer and fewer aspects of the world are unmediated by some kind of technology. It seeks to study the relations between three constituents: humans, technologies, and the environment. And they are presented as a scheme: I, technology, world. Whereas Martin Heidegger's tool analysis offers a dichotomist set of relations of presence at hand versus readiness to hand, post-phenomenology accentuates the multiplicity of relations we develop with the surrounding technologies and the various ways in which these technologies mediate the world for us. It represents this manifold by permutations of the basic post-phenomenological scheme, using parentheses and arrows. So the first type of relation is embodiment relations, in which we experience a given technology as part of what Maurice Merleau-Ponty names our body scheme. When we drive a car, we experience the world as if our body and the car's body are a single unit. When I park my car, I know how much I can drive backwards, and when I drive in a narrow street where the combo of me and my car can pass. This relation conforms very well with Heidegger's notion of readiness to hand, in which the technology withdraws to the background and the user concentrates on the work to be done, like driving. The post-phenomenological scheme looks like this. AR technologies must withdraw to the background in order to allow the user to experience the layers on top of the surrounding reality. This characteristic is also shared by virtual reality and by the same logic. The technological artifact must become what post-phenomenologists would term transparent. Another type is hermeneutic relations, in which I experience the world and the technology as a single unit. Put differently, while in embodiment relations, I and technology become a combined unit. Here, the technology and the world function as that combo. What does it mean that the environment and the technology function as a unit? When technologies are experienced as part of the environment, they tell us something about that environment. They represent certain aspects of it. These relations often involve media that is related, that is read and deciphered, and hence the term hermeneutic relations. Think of a clock. We can have embodiment relations with it, but this description does not reveal much about the meaning of the clock. We need to refer to the text it displays, i.e. the hour, whether displayed in analog or in digital form. This text is understood as part of the world that is out there, waiting for us to be deciphered. And the post-phenomenological scheme represents this relation, as you can see on the board. AR technology offers a unique form of hermeneutic relations in which they attempt to show a unified experience of media and world. The information is not just information about the world, it is part of the world, as long as I use, of course, the enabling AR device. Here again, it is interesting to compare to VR, in which that media attempts to replace the world. In AR, the world remains as is, but it is augmented by certain information or media. The next relation is alterity relation, in which the technology is experienced as a quasi-other. The classic example is children's dolls. In these relations, the world withdraws to the background. So in the formula, the world is within parentheses. Some layers of AR are experienced as alterity relations. My opening example of Pokemon Go fits within this category, as people relate to Pokemons as entities with which one can communicate. They don't have to answer, of course. Another example is personal assistants like Siri that were designed to maintain alterity relations with their users. And the fourth type of post-phenomenological relation is the background relation, where the technology operates in the background, unnoticed, like the air conditioning and the lights in this room. While in alterity relations, the world is in parentheses in order to show that it is in the background. Here the technology is in parentheses for the same reason. And the post-phenomenological scheme would put technology, as you can see, within the parentheses. When technological devices operate properly, as in the case of well-functioning AR hardware, for example, we don't pay attention to the technology and just experience the world. But the world is not experienced as is, as if technology does not exist. Just like the air conditioning that leaves the room cool, AR technologies leave traces that are noticeable, although the generators are left behind the scenes. Unlike embodiment relations, in which the technology withdraws to the background but becomes part of our body scheme, here the technology withdraws to the background while becoming part of the world. Each of the four relations covers a certain aspect of AR experience, yet the combination is not modeled. In the next section, I will review a new type of relations that may provide a more complete description of the experience AR technologies offer us. The four basic post-phenomenological relations were originally formulated by Don Eide and then expanded by Peter Paul Verbeek in 2008. Some of these expansions may explain why people spend their time running after Pokemons. These relations will allow us to understand the special relations people have with their AR technologies and why these technologies are what marketing people would call engaging. You may also suggest the tag addictive, thereby expressing some criticism, but for me such a tag is just the starting point for the analysis and not its end. Verbeek develops the notion of technological intentionality to formulate an explanation for the tight relations between humans and contemporary technologies. Vivek explains, and I quote, you have the quote here, technological intentionality here needs to be understood as the specific ways in which specific technologies can be directed at specific aspects of reality. One of the directions in which Vivek expands the post-phenomenological relations is termed composite intentionality. It indicates situations in which not only human beings but also the technological artifacts they are using have intentionality. In composite intentionality, the directedness of a technology is added to the human intentionality. This form of relation may help us explain why Pokemon Go users feel an urge to go outside and search for Pokemons. Their intentionality is added hermeneutically, that is, the ways in which the technology reads the world. The structure of the double intentionality is represented by the post-phenomenological scheme with two arrows, as you can see. This is a permutation of the hermeneutic relations formula in which the technology and the world were connected by a dash. The arrows indicate intentionality, and within the parenthesis, it is not related solely to the human eye. The technology is imbued with some independence and ability to decide to take direction. When Vivek published his article in 2008, many of his examples were taken from the field of art. Today, we can demonstrate his theoretical developments with everyday AR technologies. Let's take a basic AR situation that I believe most of the people in this room are familiar with. Driving using a navigation app like Waze. Yeah? Good. Waze provides several layers of information on top of the reality of roads as represented by a map. When projection technologies mature, it might be possible to display the layers on windshield, but and that of course will enable full AR, in which reality, as seen through the glass, serves as the basic layer on top of which the information layers are displayed. But anyway, in both cases today and somewhere in the future, the first and basic layer is directions, how to get from point A to point B. The second layer concerns the dynamics of traffic and graphically shows traffic status, flowing, moving slowly, stuck. And there is a third layer of advertisements that recommend to the driver or the navigator businesses and activities on the way. These layers are hermeneutic by their nature because they show information that is perceived by the drivers as the world out there. The intentionality can be explained as directedness. And directedness in the example of Waze has, of course, a double meaning. The ability to give directions, but also deciding which direction to follow. Waze does more than showing a map representing the world. It offers direction how to move in this world. If I want to arrive, again, from point A to point B, the app suggests the route and updates it according to the traffic conditions as they developed while I'm driving. It also suggests places on the way, usually as paid advertisements. These suggestions may change my way so that my intentionality is not as pure as driving without the app and its recommendations. This intentionality is composite, combining my intentionality and the software's intentionality. But intentionality is not exclusively on the side of the advertisements. It can also be imputed to the algorithm, as the following example may demonstrate. Some years ago, I was glad yesterday it didn't happen, the Ayalon highway in Tel Aviv was flooded. The police closed all the entries and announced the closure in mass media, radio, television, newspapers, even some major websites. But apps back then were not considered media. They were taken instrumentally as a nice gadget that helped drivers to navigate, Waze algorithm analyzed the traffic conditions and realized, hey, the Ayalon highway is empty. And the surrounding roads were jammed. So it immediately directed drivers to the Ayalon highways, thereby contributing to an even larger traffic jam around them. After that incident, of course, the software developers connected the app to police announcements, and today the app takes into account not only current traffic conditions, but also planned and unplanned roadblocks. In this story, the world in the form of roads and traffic, and the technology in the form of cars and navigation apps cannot be taken as passive actors who just respond to active humans. The decisions that drivers are taking cannot be understood with the classical tools of free will, subjectivity, objectivity, or the more recent technological determinism. We should not forget, however, the left arrow in the scheme, that which connects the human user with the combo technology world, this one. The user may choose a route different from that recommended by the app. Being critical, when I drive with Waze, I maintain my intentionality and do not always obey the app. First, I ask for alternative routes to select the one I feel more comfortable with, like refraining from toll roads or preferring a scenic road. After choosing a certain route, the app may alert that a traffic jam is developing somewhere down the road. The app is likely to suggest an alternative route that bypasses that traffic jam, and it will blip when suggesting so. It is up to me to obey and follow the new route or choose another one. In any case, the technological intentionality does not preclude my own human intentionality. They both coexist and co-shape each other in an endless loop. All these interactions between me and the app have an effect in the world. Sometimes I take its advice and turn into a small quiet street hoping to arrive on time to my destination. But then I see, this phenomenon, you see more drivers before and after you and taking just the same turns with you. And eventually we all form a new traffic congestion, albeit alleviating the jam we just try to bypass. Vivek emphasizes time and again the importance of relations in the analysis. People, technologies, and the world are co-constituted and remain interdependent. Navigation apps shape drivers' perception on traffic jams. They co-determine the way in which the driver arrives to her destination and shape the traffic world by directing more and more cars into a certain route. Now, composite intentionality may explain how augmented reality technologies transform human intentionality, thereby becoming addictive. However, the scheme represents composite intentionality assumes a certain flow going from the human user to the technological and the world. It hardly fits situations in which we give up our intentionality, delegate our decision-making to a technology, and let the technology lead, decide, and operate. In this last section, I want to examine the effect of reversing the human intentionality arrow so that it points to the human and not from the human. A simple example of this experience can be that of Waze users who obey the instructions of the app without thinking of the route. They sometimes find themselves going in loops when the app cannot determine the way or has other difficulties. They delegated the determination of direction to the app and drive in the directions the app provides, even when erroneous. The more AR technologies become part of our everydayness, the more examples will emerge. A striking look into such a future is provided by Keiichi Matsuda in his artistic video work titled Hyperreality.
Fantastic. Great. Nice. Great.
Más tarde. Apúrate si quieres una buena calificación.
Voy lo más rápido que puedo.
¿Has pensado en correr? Es saludable y eficiente.
Seguro que no hay más trabajos disponibles. Yo estudié para ser profesora y estoy haciendo mercados.
Y además puedes quedarte con los puntos de fidelización. Eres una monje afortunada. Tienes que confiar en la aplicación. ¿Te sientes inspirada? Gracias. Chao.
¿Quién soy yo? No, eso no es lo que quiero decir. ¿Para dónde voy? No. Puedo volver a empezar. Olvídalo.
Estoy presente ahora. Me amo. Estoy libre de mi ira. Estoy libre de mi tristeza. speed trading.
Adiós. Bueno. Hola otra vez. Ay, no, cállate. ¿Qué está pasando?
Buen día, Emilio. ¿Qué puedo hacer por usted?
¿Qué está pasando? Mis puntos están bien.
No se preocupe, sus puntos están seguros conmigo. ¿Le puedo ayudar en algo más, Emilio?
Yo no soy Emilio, yo soy Juliana Restrepo.
Por favor, espere.
Hola, Juliana Restrepo. Me alegra verte. ¿Qué puedo hacer por ti?
Mis puntos están bien. ¿Qué está pasando?
Tranquila, todo está bien. Parece que alguien está intentando vulnerar su cuenta. Por favor, espere mientras reinicio su dispositivo.
While in the first minute of the clip, the protagonist wonders about her life and career, very quickly she returns to the colorful augmented reality in which she cares mostly about her online identity and the points accumulated for that identity. In this augmented reality, the figures with which she communicates, her personal assistant named Inspiration Guru, and the customer support personnel are avatars, purely virtual. Moreover, the personal assistant scolds her, "You're late," and refuses to help her find a job as a teacher, saying, "Trust the app, it always chooses the right job for you." When one or more layers are charged with intelligence, we may consider the reverse of the arrow in the post-phenomenological scheme, so that the technological intentionality takes over the human intentionality. Now, in all the permutations of the post-phenomenological scheme, the arrow always goes from the I towards the technology and the world. The human is in the center of the experience. But the video clip reminds us that we are not at the center of the world. Apparently, thinking that everything is out there just for me requires an extensive technological layer that creates that illusion. The video clip maintains that augmented reality is our way to keep up this illusion. The app colors the inside of the bus, the streets, and the supermarket's aisles. The app displays only the information layer that the user is likely to find nice and pleasant, like the puppy avatar accompanying her in the supermarket. Carmel, it was for you, that puppy. The illusion is cracked when her identity is hacked. At this moment, we see the sweet puppy turning into a sexy woman, and the products are displayed with benefits for men. All these are apparently tailored to the preferences of the hacker. An attempt to represent Keiichi Matsuda's hyperreality with the post-phenomenological scheme requires some modification. Composite intentionality seems to best represent the relations that the protagonist develops with the AR app. Yet, there is a need to reverse the arrow from the I so that it points to the I. Additional modifications might be required because the permutation for composite intentionality is relevant only for the content of the app. The platform, including hardware and some of the software, is part of embodiment relations in which the technology withdraws to the background and is conceived as part of the body. However, when the post-phenomenological scheme refers to technology, this constituent includes both aspects of platform and content. Binding content and platform may be rooted in Marshall McLuhan's famous idiom, "the medium is the message," which highlights how a certain technology shapes the content it displays and how content is dependent on the platform. Since mid-20th century, this direction of research has been very productive and led to important understandings of media. However, augmented reality and other contemporary technologies, as we saw yesterday, may urge us to rethink the separation between content and technology, medium and message. In the hyper-reality clip, the content might be feminist or chauvinist, no matter what were the intentions of the developers of the platform. Similarly, technological platforms such as Twitter and Facebook are taken as their content. Indeed, the format of Twitter shapes the structure of the content, resulting in short messages in which a complex argument cannot be developed. However, the question of whether such contents are true or post-true is separated from the platform, although stemming from it. The employees and management of these technological platforms can control the display of the content, but they do not produce it. The users produce it. When the platform approaches the content, it does so by technologically deciphering it and not by hermeneutically understanding it. Separating analytically between platform and content is not an easy task, but such a separation can help us analyze, for example, the embodiment relations we maintain with the platform and identify when and how it becomes inseparable from our everyday bodily experience, leaving the content to hermeneutic relation analysis. So, I'm summarizing now. This paper was composed of 3 steps, each accompanied by an example. The examples used were ordered by their immersiveness and the degree of necessity, going from a leisure game through a navigation app used in specific context to a full augmented reality app that controls how the world is experienced. The first step contained an overview of the post-phenomenological basic relations, embodiment, hermeneutic, alterity, and background, exemplified by Pokemon Go. In the second step, I described composite intentionality, a new type of post-phenomenological relations in which intentionality is not limited to humans, but can also be imputed to technologies. The technological example was Waze and how its intentionality interacts with that of its users. And in the third step, I switched vehicles and used an exploratory example of augmented reality, an artistic video clip that imagines what life would look like if and when augmented reality technologies are interwoven into our everydayness. I showed how augmented reality may lead us to reverse the error of intentionality and rethink the division between platform and content. The third step is an attempt to understand how augmented reality technologies can become what is sometimes termed as addictive. But my analysis is not psychological. I use post-phenomenology to analyze the influences of augmented reality technologies on people and on people on those technologies according to the scheme of I-technology world. The analysis refrains from the technological deterministic tone of critique and provides an alternative account of augmented reality that is neither utopian nor dystopian. The result is the multiplicity of experiences and an understanding, so I hope, of the complex relations we have with our technologies. Thank you.